Welcome back to What Curl for Real Knows. Today I'm going to talk about credit. I know it's very taboo to talk about credit, but what I want is to give people information about credit because we have so many people who don't understand what credit is. First of all, let's talk about what your credit score has to be. I'm sorry if you see me looking down, it's because I want to make sure I keep good notes so that I can tell you everything you need to know about credit. First off, a credit score can be anywhere from 350 to 850. That is a big difference. And a lot of people, especially in their early 20s, usually have a credit score around 400, 450. And that's because by that time they have ruined their credit. So, and because it was near dear to my heart because it happened to me, and I knew so many friends that it had happened to, I wanted to explain what credit is. Well, or what a FICO score is. A FICO score is basically one of the agencies. It's an agency that tracks what your score is to determine if you have the ability to borrow. So that means a house, something as simple as a car, a credit card, and things of that nature. So I've already told you that it's like 350 to like 850 for, what your credit score can range in between. I would say over a 620 is good because it'll allow you to be able to borrow a car at for a low interest rate, which I'll explain in another video how you can get a car for a low interest rate. Um, you'll be able to get a house. You'll be very close to getting a house. I think a 620 is what you need to qualify for a house. Um, it will just make your life way more easier. So understand this with credit, there's like it's made up into five parts basically. 35% goes to they when they're considering your credit worthiness, it's payment history. 30% of it is the amount owed. So if you owe a lot of debt out there, chances are it's going to be kind of difficult for you to, it's for you to get approved. 10% is new credit. So when they always say you got no credit, you don't have any credit worthiness, well, that's not necessarily true. 15% is the length you had your credit. So most companies consider you reliable if it's like over 2 years. That's important, is how long you've had it. 10 is like a mix of things like your car, retail credit cards, loans, financing like a car, and your mortgage. Those things, as you see, they're a very small percentage. So, so there's things like that happens. Um, Now you do have to be careful about closing an account because some people think, oh well, if I pay this card off or I move the balance and I close it off, that it's going to be okay. So some people think that if they close a credit card, that means that their card that means they're still qualified. That their credit is still high. That's not true. Because if you close a credit card, you actually can cause your credit score to drop as low as 100 points. Because now you don't have anything to build on. So even if you hate the company, do not close the card. What you do is you go in there, you charge once every 3-4 months so that they won't close the card. Make like a little $20 payment. Because when you make the $20 payment and then the next month, do two $10 payments or something, or pay the minimum, or if it's $40, pay two $20 payments. Double whatever the minimum payment is for that card and then pay it off. And then you're keeping your credit card raised and it's showing that you have a history and that you're keeping your amount low. Now, typically, you want to keep your credit card at about 50% old. Now, I know a lot of us out there, man, we max that baby out. Soon as you give it to us, we do it. No, we cannot do that. You never max out more than 50% of the card. And then what you turn around and you do is, if, let's just say you have $1,000 limit. You charge $250, right? That's 25% of the whole amount of your borrowing ability. So then you turn around and say, well, I'm going to make two 125 payments. Well, if you do that, if you break it into 2 or 3 payments, guess what? You're raising your credit score up. You can raise it as high as 20 points in 1 month just by doing that. Now I did something kind of crazy. I got a lot of credit cards, but most of them are paid off. So I have to go back and try to I have to go back every once in a while and charge on them. And then I have my regular ones that I use. But I would say go for major credit cards more than store credit cards. Store credit cards you don't really need, because if you have a major one, you can go everywhere. You have a store credit card, besides somewhere like Lowe's or something where they give you 18 months, to pay it off, or 6 months, the interest rate. It's a waste of time, and you should try to buy as much stuff as you can on that and pay it off before, so you won't accrue any interest. That would be better for you, because hey, if you have a department store credit card and your car needs a tune up and you cannot afford the tune up, I think the better bet would be to have the major credit cards such as Capital One. I know Capital One is pretty easy to get. You want to mess with Saucony or Safoni. I think they do a lot of easy approvals. Chase will give you a credit card. Yeah. Bank, and I would say if you want to get the higher chance of being approved for a credit card, whoever you bank with, don't get a credit card through them. Go through a different bank, because if your bank account went low 2 months before, they're not going to give you a credit. They're not going to give you a credit card. If they know you swipe your ATM card a lot, they're not going to give you a credit card, no matter what your likelihood of paying it off. I would say understand this. You will have to pay that off, or you will have 7 years of what they call bad luck. Now, we think of that when we do when a mirror breaks. But credit works like that too. 7 years after you don't pay something, after they decide that you didn't pay and the account is, been considered delinquent, it takes 7 years for it to get off your credit. But that doesn't happen with home. Well, it does happen with homes, but it's always recorded that you had a foreclosure. But it takes 7 years. Well, everybody can see that. And everybody will tell you no to cars and everything, because that's part of your amount owed. It goes into your length of history, and it goes into your payment history, which those are the biggest factors in choosing if you can get any more ability to borrow. So remember this, be responsible with your credit cards. Because if you're not being responsible with your credit cards, what's going to happen is you're going to end up paying for it in those 7 years. Like when you get married, you have kids, you want to co-sign on a loan, or you get married, it's time for y'all to buy a house. Those can be deal breakers. And you don't want to create deal breakers for yourself and other people. You don't want to be stressed out that way. So I would say this, either if you're at the point where you can't afford it, I would probably consolidate. Because why make $500 worth of credit card payments when you can make a $200 payment and pay that 126% interest, versus turn around and paying 5 cards at like 26 to 30% interest? That doesn't make sense, because the debt is the debt is the debt. And I would say if you have any more questions, you are more than welcome to leave a message, comment, share. You can share this video, you can comment, you can subscribe, because I'm going to be giving lots of information on different things that I've learned, like how to buy a house, how to finance a car, what to say to the dealer, should you buy that night, how to know when you're being scammed when you get in an apartment, those kind of things. So if you have any questions, like I said, inbox me. This is what Curl for Real knows once again, and I'm out.